Hello guys and girls, boom, welcome back and welcome to the chat if you've joined for the second premiere, and this is part 2 of the silver stacking series. There we are. I'm going to flick through the pages, no chatter, give you a chance to say hello to each other. Okay, now we're on to the Queen Victoria 6D or Sixpence, and it's 1887 this one, and it's the second portrait, and it's 0.925 silver, and these were minted 1887 only. Same Latin inscription, and the engraver still Joseph Edgar Bowen on that second portrait, no change. There we are. But it's the reverse that's interesting on this one. There we are. It's got the quartered shield of arms inside the garter. Nice. The translation of the inscription around the edge is, "Shame on he who thinks evil of it." I've read about this somewhere, but I can't remember the details, so I apologise that I'm not giving you full information. But I always think that whatever I leave out gives you a bit more room for research and some follow-up. Here we are. Nice. Just a caveat, guys and girls, I was just reading a little info here on the reverse design. And the reason why this was only minted in 1887 and withdrawn very quickly is because some unscrupulous people were passing them off as half sovereigns after plating them with gold. There we are. You learn something new every day. Beautiful. Now we're back to George V, but on the sixpence now. And this is, note the silver level has gone to 0.500 on this one. Let me just check that's correct. Make sure I've got the same reverse. Make sure I've got 1931 information in front of me. I'm always having to double check myself these days, but 1931. Okay. What have I printed off then? If it's not 1931. 27 to 36. Okay. But I thought it was after 1920. It is after 1920. Right. Okay. And now we're on to a shilling, which was 12 old pennies, or 12D, and 1 shilling was written with a 1 / and then a space, what's it called? One of those little lines anyway. Okay, you might see it later on. I've written it later on some of these coins that I've flipped. Now this one, I couldn't make out the date, so it's between 1838 and 1887. But it's still 925 silver, and it's the first portrait. We can make that out. And then the reverse, you can't see it. It flips that way, look. Okay, you can't see it, but it says, does it say it that way? It does not. I've written it upside down probably. That's just the weight in there. Let me just have a look at the details on the back of this one while, bear with me folks. Oh yeah, bits of paper flying everywhere. The reverse says 1 shilling. Okay, and the date, and then the engraver was Jean Baptiste Merlin, and the denomination with the wreath and the date below, so that's all it says. The die number location above the date. The die number location above the date. What? What? Oh, I can't see it. What a shame. Is there anything on here about that? No? No. Interesting. Because we don't know the year, we don't know the mintage figures, but it says 1838 only, because it does. I've got another page on there somewhere. Probably has. No. I'm not going to tell you in case it's a lot more than that. Okay, there we go. And that's a very worn 1 shilling or 12 old pennies. And this one is an absolute spanker. Unfortunately, or whatever way you look at it, somebody's welded a silver loop on there. That just means a little bit more silver, guys, come on. Okay, it should be able to be removed by a good silversmith or jeweller just by melting the solder, and should be able to get it clean as a whistle, as if it was never there, because this coin is in absolute spanking condition. It's Victoria 1887. Okay, so that was the very last shilling to be. Oh, I'm pointing to the last one. You can't see it because I've got the picture up there. Can you see? They were minted. These ones were minted. Actually, it's a different portrait. This is the second portrait. Wow, let's get a read on then. Okay, let's get the information correct. This coin was minted between 1887 and 1889. It's the second bust, as I say. 23.5 diameter, I've written on there on the front, and it is 0.925 of silver, same as the last shilling was as well. Now then, again it says on there, Victoria, by the grace of God, Queen of the Britons and Defender of the Faith, Joseph Edgar Bowen, the engraver. Now, the reverse, here we go. There is a variation on this coin as well, and I put an arrow to where it actually is, roughly there. I won't go into too much detail, but it's the Q, and it's all down to the size of the tail. Righty-ho. So this is 1/20th, so there were 20 shillings to the pound, and it's silver 925, and it's 5.66 grams, diameter 23.5 millimeters, and thickness 1.7 mil. Righty-ho. And the reverse is the crowned royal shield with garter. Sorry, if you can hear my tummy grumbling, it's because I'm hungry. And it says engraver Leonard Charles Wyan. I hope that's the correct pronunciation. Absolutely marvellous. Now then, let's have a look, see if we've got a mintage figure for this, because I haven't written it on there. Do you think it's marvellous condition? Absolutely wonderful. And I'm ignoring the fact that I've got a bit of excess silver on the top. I'm not in the least bit perturbed about that. And what did we say? 87? Just over 4 million. But it says proof-like. Mintage figure was 1300. No, I don't think this is a proof, do you? Well, it can't be classed as a proof now, it's been soldered. But the condition, oh my word, that is absolute beauty. Absolute beauty. So 1887, what else have we got here? Oh, they go up in mintage. 88 and 89 are 4.5 and just over 7 million. So, yeah. So if this was a proof coin, it would be valued as per what I'm reading off of New Mister, £350. But of course mine's worth more because it's got more silver. There we are, guys and girls. I hope you enjoyed that little run through I will share with you a few more that I've flipped. Not all the details, of course, but just to show you the enormity of the task. I did give you that waffly, you know, my little fast forward chipmunk voice, and the reason I did that was because I'm just trying to get back into things. It's taken me a little bit more time because I've lost it a little bit. Let's just pick up that old sixpence and stick it. Oh no, don't stick it on the top of that one. No, 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 no. Stick it on the bottom. There we go. So those are all the 3Ds. I believe I've got a spanking good run there. I'm really chuffed with that, so I'm going to be putting those on an album. And then I've got 60s here. This is how I said to you about writing 1 shilling. That's how you would have written 1 shilling. These are shillings that are 0.500 silver, so half silver basically. So I've got those, that, and then I'm starting a pull from the world coins. So I've got just a couple so far. This one I couldn't fit in a flip, it's so big. Look at the size of that. Look at that. Now that is 0.680 silver, Tunisian, 1935. There we go, 20 francs. But nice, lovely coin, beautiful detail in fantastic condition. But we will cover those all as we go through the series. I'm just going to take you to the last of the shillings. I know I've only shown you a couple because, well, there's so many of them, but you've seen the different portraits and it's a bit of the same old, same old. So I'm sharing this 1946 George VI with you because it's a Scottish shilling and it's got a different reverse. But I'll share with you the obverse first, which is the uncrowned portrait of King George VI. He's facing to the left and he's got a legend round the edge that reads, George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons. That's in Latin. The engraver is Thomas Humphrey Paget. And the shilling weighs in at 1.66 grams. Sounded like a boxer then. Diameter 23.5 millimetres. I've made myself laugh and got myself off track then. Thickness is 1.5 millimetres and the edge is milled. And that incidentally was, I think, one of the things that Sir Isaac Newton introduced to stop counterfeiting. Now, Isaac Newton was the master of the mint from 1699 till his death in 1727. Now then, let's have a butcher's at the back. Let's get you back on camera. There we are. Okay, the reverse is the crowned lion seated on top of a crown and holding a sword and sceptre, and it divides the date. And the shield's flank, on either side you can see the Scottish flag and the Scottish thistle, and the legend above and the denomination below. And the translation is Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. We're going to take a look at a florin. That's the beginning of the 2 shillings. Not the beginning of the run, I don't think, but an interesting one. Might actually be the earliest one. Let me just check. 1 shilling, florin. Yeah, okay. So this is the earliest florin or 2 shilling piece that I've got. And I'm sharing this one with you first because, interestingly, there's a bit on the back. But let me read about, there's an AI overview from the Google search about the florin because I wanted to know, or remind myself, because I should know this, the difference between a 2 shillings and a florin. So I'm just going to read you a little extract from that. And it basically says that there's no practical difference between the two. The official naming of the coin designated varied by era. Earlier, Victorian versions were minted with 1 florin stamped on the reverse, while later coins from the mid-20th century were featured with the words 2 shillings. And then it says the name Florin originates from a medieval Italian coin, the Florino, and from Florence. It was adopted in 1849 by Britain as an early radical experiment toward a decimal system representing exactly 1/10 of a pound. Oh, that's interesting. So that's back 1849 we started thinking about going decimal then. Took us a while, didn't it? The value consistency, both terms equaled 24 pence. In everyday language, people often just called the coin 2 bob or 2 bob bit, which is a slang term, basically, for those of you who don't understand our English language because it's so complicated. So this is 2 shillings or a florin or 2 bob or a 2 bob bit. I know, it gets worse. Anyway, this was actually decimalisation was in 1971, and then in 1993 these were withdrawn and were demonetised. Okay, so that's the bit about the florin and the names of the coins. So if I can actually show you 2 shillings. Okay, 2 shilling piece, different monarch on the front and different reverse, but that's basically exactly the same size. Okay, I don't think there's going to be much difference in weight or size. It looks to me like it is the same size, but perhaps we ought to check that maybe later when we're doing a little bit more. You know, I'd like to give you a little bit of extra when I'm doing my homework. So we're going to remind me about that. Remind me, okay? If not, you can look it up while we're chatting and tell me. So this is a 1902 florin, and it's Edward VII, and it's the uncrowned portrait of the king, and he's facing to the right, and it's got a legend around the edge which translated reads, Edward VII, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons and defender of the faith, and Emperor of India. The engraver was George William de Saules. Yeah. It's 925 silver, as you can see, and I've written 2 shillings on there, but if we turn it over, you can see on the reverse we've got a standing Britannia. There we are. Okay, so the reverse is the standing figure of Britannia on a ship's bow. Well, you can hardly see that because of the wear on this coin. And she is holding a trident in the right hand and a shield bearing the Union flag in the left, and the legend around and the date below. And the legend translated is 1 florin and 2 shillings. Oh, it's not even translated because it is actually written in modern English. So that's 1 florin, 2 shillings. And the engraver again is George William de Saules, and it's got a reeded edge. Yeah. Minted in the Tower of London, minted coins between 1810 and 1975. The weight of this coin is 11.31 grams, diameter is 28.50 millimetres, and the thickness is 2.3 millimetres. Here we are. I'm just going to have a look on the second page of New Mister that I'm reading to you from, just to see if there's anything else on here. 1902, 2.489 million. Yay. There we are. Uncirculated condition, which this ain't. The value is at the moment £170. Woohoo! So if you've got a tidy one of these, yay! I know we're now getting on to the weight of the coins and the value of the silver coming up, which was the whole object of the exercise, to actually pull the silver because of the price of bullion at the moment. There we are. Okay, that's the florin or 2 shillings. Okay, I thought you might like to have a look at this slab. I know, decent bit of silver, not bad, eh? This is, I think this is my best bit. 1 ounce of fine silver. That's a description around the legend. Hold on a minute, does it actually say that? Fine? Does not, does it? It does say fine silver. It does. My eyes deceive me. I do have a touch of problems with my eyes, but it does say fine. It's just all that the sun's coming through the blinds and it's a little bit... I've been keeping you in the shadow a little bit here to stop any glare, but anyway, this is Britannia, and this is 2019 Britannia. There you are, 1 ounce lump. There we are. It says £2. £2. There we are. Okay. I'm just going to line her up for you just so it looks tidy. There you go. That's better. Okay. So we've looked at the monarchs. We've looked at Victoria. We've looked at Edward the Seventh, George the Fifth, George the Sixth, Edward the Eighth. We haven't found any Edward the Eighth. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Eh? I think there are a few escaped. Were there? Tell me what coins you think of Edward the Eighth were actually a possibility that we might actually find some. That would be great to know. Save me looking it up. Been doing a lot of homework, you know. I'm struggling to catch up. Anyway, we had George the Sixth and late Queen Elizabeth II, and now, of course, we've got our King Charles III, who we love getting the new coins. We're waiting on B's, and I think we're waiting on £2 coins now. We're waiting on 20p pieces. I haven't seen a 20p piece that hasn't got a privy mark on yet, so yeah, be interesting to know. Okay, right, so as I say, we've looked at the monarchs on the pre-decimal coins and the decimal coins as well. I like this one, for instance. Yes, but it's all down to the silver content, but we've covered, you know, quite a long period in history, so it's quite nice. Still got half crowns to go. I've still got well, crowns. Yeah, there's commemorative crowns and things, but I haven't got any actual crowns. I don't know about you. I know, but some of you have. I'm just going to have a quick look. So far, as I say, you've seen the album. I've already updated you on the album, and the things that you've just seen today are not yet in the album. So I've only put the Thrupney bits basically in there. Let's just move the Britannia out of the way. We'll go into that a bit later. But this is all to be filed into that album. The only problem is I've only got a few sixpences, and as I add to them, I'm going to have to keep pulling them in, out, in, out, in, out, and the plastic wallets won't last 5 minutes. So any tips on that would be appreciated. Those are all shillings and 2 shillings or florins. And then, as I say, we have got those other half crowns to go through. So we've got a lot to cover still, but I'm going to leave it there for now because I think we've been about half an hour. But thanks very much for joining me. Absolutely amazed that everybody's come back to me since I've been rejuvenated. Says she who was in A&E yesterday. That's another story. But yeah, I appreciate every one of you, and thanks very much again for joining me in the chat, and take care until the next one. Bye bye.